Hello, 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 everybody. Right, day 3 is here. I'm just checking super quick to make sure that this is live. Yes, it is. Please throw me some likes and pop a comment if you're watching. Let me know that you are watching and that you can hear me just fine and see me just fine. Okay, so let's jump in. Day 3. This is probably one of the most exciting days because everybody wants to know how to get those scroll stopping and irresistible sales pages designed so that when somebody lands on that sales page, they actually take action. And there's definitely some practical stuff you can sort of put in place on your sales pages, or have a look at your sales pages critically with the little list that I'm going to give you today and see if it's actually working for you on your website and if there's something that you can actually tweak. So I want to know how many of you have sales pages at the moment. I want to know links, pop the links in. And I'd love to give you some feedback after the live as well. And if there's any questions as I'm going through this, please don't hesitate to hop in and ask questions in the comments. Okay, so I'm going to get started. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And I'm going to start with one of my sales pages. Now, I've got some great examples to show you today. So first of all, we need to be clear. These design tips come once you've already established your ideal client. So go back to day 1 if you didn't watch that lesson already or that live already. You want to really have a clear idea of who your ideal client is so that you know that you're speaking to their pain, as it were, and you know that your branding is on point and your copy is going to be the next most important thing. So if you can afford to do it, I would highly recommend that you get a professional copywriter to help you write your copy for your sales page. If you can't afford it, you can always ask a copywriter to look over your content that you've written. And the third option is to use a copywriting AI. So I've recently discovered the most amazing, in fact, let me just pop a window for that quickly. Conversion AI. Amazing. It would help if I spelt it right here. Conversion AI is just an amazing tool that I'm using at the moment in my business because I'm not a natural copywriter. And it's basically taking the power of AI and helping you to write your copy on your pages. So that's super exciting. So definitely check out Conversion AI. If you need some more affordable assistance with writing your copy. But when you're writing this copy and if you're working with a copywriter, when you are actually giving them the details for what they're going to be writing for that sales page, you really want to make sure you've refined that ideal client and you've niched down, you've been as specific as possible about what that sales page is for. Okay, so I'm assuming here that you have this amazingly written copy now that speaks directly to your ideal client. And so we're going to go through the practical things that you should have or shouldn't have on your sales pages. Okay, so one of the things you shouldn't have on your sales page is traditional headers and footers. So you'll see, and I'm going to cycle through a bunch of different examples. So, this is an example of a sales page that actually does have a menu on it. So the downside of having a menu on it is that there's other things on a sales page that they can click away to when you're on the sales page. So in an ideal world, you want to have a sales page that has no header and footer in place. So your standard header and footer that's on your website, you don't want that appearing on your sales page. Now I'm going to add a little caveat here because with my clients recently, what's become popular is having a menu, a simplified and slightly hidden menu on the sales pages, especially if this is a sales page for something that's kind of an evergreen offer or an evergreen service in your business. So what do I mean by that? I mean, it's not something that has a defined, it's coming out, it's starting and ending here and here, and you can only buy that thing or register for that thing or enroll in that thing for a limited period. If it's a service that you offer ongoing throughout the year and not in a specific launch period, then you actually want to have that service kind of as part of your website. So if you look at my sales page, for example, you'll see I've got a little button here that takes you into my main menu for my website, because all of my sales pages, they are for services that are ongoing. So they actually form part of, they fall under work with me on my website, etc. And you'll see that a lot of clients are doing that at the moment. You'll notice the same thing with Sabrina, who I've mentioned before. So this is her 6-figure accelerator sales page. You'll see she doesn't have a main menu, but she's got a little hamburger icon. And in fact, I'm going to go to browser view so that you don't see me covering that menu. You'll see there's a little menu icon on the right over here. Whereas if I head off to Sabrina's homepage, you will see she has a full menu across the top of her normal pages. But once you go through to a sales page like that one we just clicked on, that normal menu disappears and you just have a discrete little hamburger button. So a lot of my clients are going in that direction. Long and the short is you want to make it as distraction free as possible on your sales page. So you want the person not to be clicking away or clicking off onto another offer. So that's why we generally say no header and footer on your sales page, no distraction at all. The next thing that's really important is speaking about benefits over features. So what do I mean by this? I touched on this in the previous 2 lives a little bit. We don't want to talk about what you do. We want to talk about what that gets for the client. So somebody is not particularly interested in the fact that, let's say you're a VA, somebody's not really that interested in the fact that you can edit Word documents. They're more interested in the fact that you're going to be saving them time or taking hassle out of their lives. So you really need to turn those features that you offer into benefits for the clients. So you want to be speaking to them around what problem are you solving. So when you are looking at your sales page, you don't want to talk so much about what you're doing, as I said, but more what it gets for them. So you'll see, for example, my 1-week deluxe, which is kind of my VIP offering. It says a bespoke online sanctuary for your business, done for you in a week, so you can finally launch your slick automated money-making machine. That's what they want. And then it immediately goes into speaking to the client's pain. So I'm directly speaking to my client's pain here. Does sharing your website URL make you break out into a cold sweat? Are you fed up with wasting hours trying to figure things out yourself? These are my ideal clients that I'm speaking to. So it's very important to speak about the benefits to them over the features. So in my site, for example, you'll see once you get down to this section, it's so imagine this, you're opening up your browser, it's all done beautifully for you, etc., etc., etc. Something very important to do as well is like a one-liner at the top of what this is. So Sabrina's site is a great example over here. So right at the top, before you even start scrolling down the page, she's got here the 6-figure accelerator. So that's cool, great name, but what is it actually for the client? And here it is. She tells us right at the top of the page: the hottest fire Kickstarter for women who aren't messing around with their online business. And then the first thing you see is a little bit more about what they're getting. Chanel's Barefoot Luxe Business Retreat sales page is a wonderful example of that as well. So here's a retreat that Chanel was running last year, or it actually ended up being postponed thanks COVID, but hopefully she can start opening up more retreats soon. But you'll see here's the title of the retreat, Barefoot Luxe Business Retreat, and right here above the fold it tells you an all-inclusive luxury beach house retreat for accomplished female business owners like you who desire clarity, focus, and are ready to step into the role of coach, consultant, or mentor. Hello. So it tells them exactly what they are getting out of it. It's not woo-woo and all about Chanel. It's about what are you getting in that sales page, right at the top. So that's my next top tip, is right at the top. After your program name, have a one-liner that is in a nutshell, to the point. What is this sales page about exactly? And if you can get that above the fold, even better. So that's my next top tip for them. Yeah, exactly. So Chanel is on this live with us, and she says, absolutely tell them what's in it for them. 150%. That is exactly the plan. So the next top tip I have is to put copy in bite-sized chunks. So we touched on this yesterday a little bit when we spoke about white space and, having your copy in little bits and pieces. So let's stay on Chanel's page here and go down. You'll see we've got this copy broken up into nice, digestible, little bite-sized chunks. Make sure that your headings are also telling the story of your sales page. So if somebody doesn't read the copy on your sales page and they're just scrolling through and skimming the headings, it should tell the story of this sales page without them having to read every word on the page. So let's test this theory on a few of the example pages I have. Let's hope my page is done well. So here's my 1 week deluxe page. Here it tells them in one line what it is above the fold. And if I just read the big headings that stand out, what does it tell me? Have you given up on the website of your dreams? A lot of my clients have. Are you tired of? Now that might pull them into wanting to read this. So now I'm just putting this all in tiny little bite-sized chunks. See, have you been around? You're not looking for just another pretty website. And do you know you can actually have it all? So now I'm starting to actually paint the picture for them of what they could have. And if they want to read more, they go through that. So how about imagining this? And, again, it's bite-sized chunks. So there's a lot of copy on this particular sales page, but because it's broken down into nice little bite-sized chunks, it's easy for people to actually read and digest as they scroll down the page. And the headings need to tell the story. So the options are endless. And that's not all. So the cherry on top is this. So you want to really draw them into that. Let's have a look at Marie Forleo's B School page. Now, I haven't looked at this in a while, so let's see what this looks like. So Marie Forleo's B School, a lot of people enroll in this, very, very popular. So what is Marie Forleo's B School? Here we are, right at the top. Tell me in a nutshell, what is it that B School is? And then we've got a nice little testimonial. And then how does it work? You see how the questions she's going in and answering. So this is a stunning way to write the copy of your sales page. Think about the questions that people ask. Again, just sit down and be logical. What are people going to want to know? A good place to start if you're not good at copywriting is to actually sit down and think about if you were having a conversation with a real live person and you were trying to sell them the service you're having, what are the kind of questions that they would typically ask you? Write those questions down, and those are the things that you should be covering in your sales page. Now, you'll notice that sales pages have a kind of a standard layout, let's call it. So although the design changes from person to person, etc., the look and feel, the flow, the iconography, the colors, whatever, the structure of a sales page is pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same. You're going to have that program name. You're going to have a one-liner, what it's about. You're going to go into what pain are you solving for that person. Then you're going to go into how are you going to solve that pain. You're going to pepper through some testimonials, and then you're going to start introducing your actual pricing or your engagement rows, your how do they actually go ahead and enroll in or purchase this thing that you're offering. So sales pages, they all follow the same format. So the first thing to do is head along to Google, get hold of your favorite web designer, get hold of your favorite coach, and say, do you have a sales page template that I can follow? And follow that when you're writing your copy. That's a great, great tip of how to just get this basic structure of your page right so that you're answering questions as they come up. We are humans, but we all think in the same way, and we kind of think in the same order. And that's why sales page psychology, as it were, it all follows pretty much the same recipe. So if you look at some examples of really great sales pages, you're going to see the same recipe is followed. So besides your copy being good and your headings telling the story as you go and answering those specific things, we also need to pay attention to our images. and what we're using, again, so that they are brand specific, right? So let's go and have a look at some more of these sales pages. So this is great. I love Marie Forleo's testimonials on your website are always so great. She always has the client's photo, and that's immediately putting your ideal client, your customer, in the picture. And that's what you want. You want a good combination of photos of you. So we see lots of Marie here. We definitely want a photo of you. If you're selling a service like coaching or a service-based business, a done-for-you service, anything where somebody's going to be dealing directly with you or your team, you definitely want a picture of you front and center. Now, I know this doesn't sit well with all of us. We are not all exhibitionists and extroverts, and we aren't all 100% happy and comfortable with the way we look all the time. Most of us are women. Most of us are never happy with the way we look. But the reality is that if you stick your mug front and center on your personal branding, on your services, on anything that's service-based or about dealing with you, I 100% guarantee you're going to have more conversion. I've had to learn this lesson myself in more than one business. I always feel uncomfortable in the beginning sharing my face, and I cannot tell you the effect that putting my big face on the top of my website and on the top of my sales pages has had on my business. Like direct. The minute I made that change to my website, the minute I went more personal branded, the minute I put my face all over, my brand really took off. And I've learned this more than once in more than one business. I always have to learn this lesson again. So I understand. Trust me, I understand. It's not comfortable for me. It's not comfortable. It may look like it's comfortable because I had a wonderful photographer who made me feel comfortable, but it's not comfortable for me either. It's something that if you go and stick your face on the top of your website, I can't tell you the effect that that's going to have if you're a service-based business or a personal brand, or if you're selling a coaching course that you're giving, or if you're selling any course, you name it, you want your face up there. So you go and look at all of these sales pages I'm going to show you, and what do you see? You see the person who is doing that thing front and center, up at the top every single time. Any good sales page, go and look and you will see the same thing. So get comfortable, get uncomfortable, and then get comfortable and use a combination of images. So Chantal here, you'll see she's used images of herself. She's used images of clients of hers that were at previous retreats. So again, it's putting you in that sales page. So here, she had yoga at the previous retreat. These are all clients of hers, and then testimonials, etc. And as we scroll down the page, you'll see there's a nice combination of, pictures of Chantal and pictures of clients on retreat with her. So it's really, and here you go, in a group setting, etc. So it's really painting that picture. So it's not just pictures of you. It needs to be pictures of you and appropriately selected pictures that really speak to your ideal client and make them picture themselves in that situation. Again, and I've said this a few times this week, just think logically about this, Think about what brick and mortar stores are doing and think, how can I bring that experience to my website? It's exactly the same in good brick and mortar stores. If you go into high street stores or whatever, your favorite boutiques, whatever the case is, you walk in, there's mannequins posed in different positions with clothes on, etc. It's to paint the picture for you. That's what sells it to you. Any experience, any brand that you enjoy and you look at online, you're going to see that experience is painted, so get some lifestyle pictures in there. If you don't have good photos that you've taken yourself of examples of whatever you are offering, then go to a good stock library, preferably pay for stock images, because you're going to get a better selection and you're going to get stuff that people haven't used a million times, right? And source some really appropriate on-brand stock images for yourself. Okay, then social proof. Okay, so what is social proof? Social proof is things like where you've been featured and also things like your testimonials, right? So that's what you want to be featuring on your sales pages. So in fact, one of my clients, let's just go off to Celine DaCosta, for example. She does this really great on her website that I built for her. So here's Celine DaCosta. Celine DaCosta is featured extensively because she's a writer on many amazing publications, etc. That is right front and center at the top of all of her pages and her sales pages. This is her homepage, but I know it's on all her sales pages as well. So you want to really feature that social proof high up, especially if it's important to your ideal clients. So if you are appealing to people who care about where you've been featured or what you've done, then you're going to want to put that social proof right up there. So testimonials, Marie Forleo's B School, prime example, straight after she tells you what it is, bang, we've got a testimonial. You know, that's exactly what you want to do. Sabrina's six-figure accelerator goes into what it is. Here we're talking about appropriately used photos. There's a great one. Goes into a little bit about what's covered. And you're going to see just after here, we start going into testimonials. Here we go. Testimonials, video testimonials work so great on sales pages. And you pepper them through. So I'm going to keep scrolling on Sabrina's sales page here. And you'll see she goes on about what's covered in the program and a little bit more about bonuses. And then we're going to get to some more testimonials. So here's the first lot of text testimonials over here. So you want to really break these up and have them strategically placed as you go through the page. So my website, for example, same thing. I tell you a little bit about, you know, speaking to your pain, painting the picture of what it could be like, and bang, first testimonial right here, Sally Oddy, one of my favorite clients. And then you keep going down and what's included, what can you do, and another testimonial. So you just pepper them through the page as you go. That is really what you want to do on all of your sales pages. So let's look at Jenna Kutcher's Instagram Lab sales page over here. So as we scroll through, she says immediately here, speaking to what pain she wants to solve for them. So you can see this is a great example of the headings telling the story. So right here, the exact blueprint to grow your following by attracting the right people you can convert followers to clients and tell your story in a meaningful way. So why does its ideal posting time on Instagram make us break out in a cold sweat? She's telling the story in her headings as you go through the page. Again, you can see how she's used appropriate photography and sprinkled in with her photography as well. And as we go through, she tells us what's in the modules, broken down into lovely little chunks of information. And so we go down. Here's the bonus. So, you know, you can see all of these sales pages follow the same kind of recipe, as it were. So again, here, Gabby Bernstein. Now, Gabby Bernstein's recently had a little facelift of her website. Now, this is an example of a really short, effective, no bells and whistles, no unnecessary bling sales page. So this is her Miracle membership. Video right at the top. If you can record a sales video for your sales page, that converts amazingly well. If you can also have something called muted autoplay on that video, do that. So what muted autoplay means is the video actually starts playing, but silently with subtitles. So it draws you in to actually hit that play button before you actually play. So Miracle membership, here she goes. This is a great example, by the way, of rewarding your motivated buyers with call to action buttons high up on the page, not having them have to scroll too far before they get the opportunity to actually take action on your offer. So you'll see here's her social proof nice and high on the sales page as well. Goes through very simply what's included in the program, some more testimonials. What are the perks? So again, here we're speaking about the benefits rather than the features. This is a little bit about her. Some more testimonials. So you see how she's sprinkling them through the page. And here we get to the row where we're going to actually take action. So any of those buttons you clicked up ahead would bring you down to this. So guarantee, some FAQs, and that is it. That's the basics of a sales page, really slimmed down, but that is exactly the same. So whether it's a short page like that or an uber long Sabrina Phillips style sales page, or something like, Chanel's Barefoot Luxe Business Retreat sales page, they follow the same exact recipe. So that's really the key, is go and have a look at what everyone else is doing out there and follow that recipe when you're doing your sales pages. There's a reason it's done that way. Okay, so let's talk about, we've spoken about peppering your calls to action and your testimonials through the page. The next thing I want to talk to you about is your call to action color. So we mentioned this in some of the previous lives, but I'm going to remind you, what is a call to action? A call to action is the thing that you want them to do. So the button you want them to click on, the subscribe form you want them to fill in, whatever the thing is that you want them to take action on, we call that a call to action. And so what you want to do is use a call to action color that's used sparingly on that page. Now, I see this a lot with, let's call it, some of the over-designed, design for the sake of design type pages out there. If you use your call to action color, let's say it's a button, if you use that button color everywhere on your page, it gets quite washed out, and it starts getting a little bit lost. So you want your call to action color to really stand out and to be almost reserved. And you have to excuse me, we have monkeys. So my Weimaraner is going to bark at the window now, and I might have to let him out. This is the joys of lives. But your call to action color has to really stand out from the crowd of your site. So let's have a look at some of these sales pages. Let's see who's doing it well and who's not doing it well. So I think Marie Forleo uses a ghost button. So now, remember yesterday, if you watched yesterday's live, we spoke about ghost buttons, right? So here's Marie's main button. This is what she wants you to do. She wants you to join B School. So you'll see that's a normal main call to action button. It's quite simple. It's on white. It's over the image. It stands out nicely. And next to that, she's actually got a ghost button. Now, this is the only time I would recommend using a ghost button, and you use it when it's a secondary option. It's something that is of less importance, let's call it, than your main call to action. So let me show you what I'm talking about, because I forgot to actually go over to browser view. Marie Forleo, here we go. So we've got her main call to action button, and we've got the secondary button, which is actually a ghost button. And then as we scroll down, you'll see she's got some buttons here that are quite pale, peachy. She's actually got very sort of discreet, let's call it, branding. I would prefer to see a much more standout button. But, you can't knock what works. Here, for example, is a nice button on her waitlist. So at the moment, she's waitlisting. This is the main thing on the B School. It's not open at the moment. Let's have a look at Sabrina's page. So let's pop back to the top of the page. Now, this page is actually one of the pages that there's quite a lot of scrolling before you get to actually interact on this page. And I know that this is a page that was designed by Carol Hampshire. She's Sabrina's designer, somebody I loved working with, a fellow South African. And I know she designed this page, and the first interaction is actually quite far into this page. So we go down, we see some testimonials, we see a whole lot of modules, we see bonuses, and we're going to get to the call to action further down. You'll see on some of Sabrina's other sales pages, it's much higher up. So here you'll see there's a very bold join us now button. Let's have a look at what Jenna Kutcher is doing. So Jenna Kutcher, everything goes down to her actual enrollments over here. So here she's done background colors so that it really stands out, and she's done a white button. Let's have a look at Gabby Bernstein. So this was a great example. So I love this. So you'll see how these pink buttons really stand out, and she's used pink quite sparingly on the rest of the page. That's what you want to do. Let's have a look at Chanel's. So Chanel's, again, she's used the blue a lot. This was very beachy. And then you'll see the blue buttons and the blue calls to action. So as you go down the page, you want those call to actions to stand out. So I guarantee you next version of this page, Chanel will probably do a solid button when she's ready to reopen this, because we actually changed out her buttons on her branding. Let's look at some other clients. So this is a client, Kelly Chandler. Scroll down and let's see what she's got. So this is a sales page of hers. Now Kelly appeals more to a sort of a corporate-y sort of client. So you'll see her colors, etc., speak to them. And here's her buttons, her inquire buttons. So that color is used quite sparingly in her design, everywhere else in the design. So you really want your calls to action to jump out. Celine DaCosta is a great example. She's got a really vibrant blue button, and you'll see that that dark blue is used very sparingly on her site. So you want your calls to action to always stand out. So if your brand color is teal or whatever it is, don't do everything on your site teal, because your buttons then disappear. Whatever your call to action is, make that color really pop on your page by using it sparingly. That's my next biggest tip. Okay, some of these are repetitions of what we said yesterday. Body copy. So your body copy, again, should be a minimum of 16 to 20 pixels. So especially for bits that are important for people to read, you want to make sure that your text is always big enough to read. Again, let's go through, check all of these. Look how beautiful the font size is on Marie Forleo's site. You want to make your font size really easy to read. Sabrina's site, you can see as you go through all of these, everybody is doing the same thing. And again, let's not reinvent the wheel here. There are standards for reasons, so you want to just make sure that you are hitting those standards. You want to make your sales page easy to read. The options to buy. You should repeat these 2 to 3 times through your sales page. So why do you do that? You do that because people are different personality types, and some of us need to read more information before we're ready to take action, and some people are ready to take action pretty quickly. So you want to have 2 or 3 maybe times during your sales page where you are repeating those offers to buy. So if I scroll through my sales page, I'm going through what I offer, etc., etc. And then I'm going to get to a section where I have my first pricing or purchase row. Here it is. So here it is. You're ready to work with me. This is where you're going to sign up for either the payment plan or the once-off payment. And then I'm going to keep scrolling, and you'll see that I repeat that further down on the page. So if somebody's still reading and scrolling, here we repeat it down at the bottom of the page, typically just before your frequently asked questions, for example. So you want to repeat these 2 or 3 times through the page. So you'll see that with Sabrina as well, her sales pages. So here's her pricing tables that we got up to. Then we keep going. We see some more testimonials. We'll see a little bit more sort of copy to entice the person, a little bit about Sabrina, and then bang, we've got your purchase tables again. So you want to be peppering those through 2 or 3 times so that if somebody needs to read a bit more before they're ready to take action, they're going to have the opportunity to take action again. Then something that I just mentioned when I was showing you mine is adding a frequently asked questions section. Now this is gold dust, this. Frequently asked questions. So think about in traditional sales, you know that there are objections. There are always objections to whatever you're trying to sell. So what are objections? Objections are the things that people ask, the questions they ask before they're ready to commit, the things they're not sure of, the things they want clarity on, etc., etc. So having frequently asked questions on the bottom of your sales page is a fantastic way to answer those objections. It saves you from hopping on a call with someone sometimes, and it might help the person actually take action and book without getting in touch with you first. So frequently asked questions, let's pop back to the browser. So on Sabrina's page, we go through some more testimonials, and then bang, at the bottom of the page, the last thing we do is we have some frequently asked questions. Back to my sales page, again, right at the end of the sales page, what do? We have some frequently asked questions. And you're going to see this on many sales pages. Let's see if Marie has some frequently asked questions. So a lot of her frequently asked questions she actually answers in the copy, because as we said earlier, her headings are actually questions and answers, really. And let's see. No, she doesn't have a specific frequently asked questions, but she's answering them as she goes through the pages. Let's have a look at Jenna Kutcher. Does she have some FAQs at the bottom? We've got some facts. Here we go. Here's what she gets. She's repeating her offers, so you'll see how she's repeated her row as well. And let's see. Here we go. Question and answer. Here we go. Get the facts. So this is a lovely layout. Look at this layout. So she's got her frequently asked questions. You can say next question, and here's her frequently asked questions. So when I said to you that sales pages follow the same recipe, you can see how they follow the same recipe, but they're often designed differently. So the same structure, the same recipe is on all good sales pages, and it all comes down to the way you really turn this into yours. So your frequently asked questions, amazing, amazing opportunity to help people to get to that point of making a sale. The other thing that's very clear, that's very important, making it clear who your offer is for and who it's not for. So this comes back to our lesson 1, or our live number 1 that we did on Monday. Head back and watch that if you missed it. You want to get clear on who your offer is for, and just as clear on who it's not for. And in your sales page, that is incredibly powerful, because at the end of the day, you don't want to be dealing with inquiries and having to invest time and energy in having conversations with people who are not your ideal client. Your sales page needs to attract your ideal client and repel your non-ideal client, because you don't actually want to waste too much space, energy, time, anything on somebody that isn't ready to work with you. So the best way to do that is to be clear about who your page is for and who it's not for. So let's have a look at some examples. So I'm going to go back to my page. I'm going to scroll a little bit up, and I've got a section right here. This is for you if, and it talks to my ideal client. And this is not for you if, and it talks to my non-ideal client. So I'm very, very clear about who my offer is for and who it's not for. Sabrina often does this as well in her pages. So let's scroll up and see where that is in this page. Here, in fact, this is right here. So if you're in this and you're not crown chakra deep in a 6-figure business and you're not in love with it, this is for you. So it's answering who this is for. The 6-figure accelerator is reserved for people who, this is for you, this is for you, this is for you, this is for you. So it's very clear about who it's for, who it's not for. Now, I don't remember on Chanel's page if we had that on this sales page, but let's see if we have it somewhere. Scrolling. Here we go. We do. This is a high-level business retreat. It's not for you if you don't have an established business. You're not someone who takes action. You're easily derailed by comparison. So make it super clear on your sales pages who it's for and who it's not for. It's a wonderful way to, get rid of the chaff and be talking directly to your ideal clients. So make it clear who it's for and who it's not for. And then something we touched on a lot yesterday, white space. Look at all this beautiful white space. Do not be afraid of white space. People want stuff in little digestible chunks that are easy to read, so please have lots of white space. And white space doesn't mean it needs to be white. It just means have some space around your things. So you'll see on this page, for example, Sabrina uses Carol uses a lot of pink in the design. It doesn't mean it's only white. Like here we go, this is a pink background. It just means have space, have breathing room around your stuff. Don't squish it all up into one screen. Okay, then mobile layout. So we also touched on this yesterday, so definitely go and watch yesterday's live if you missed that. Make 100% sure that your mobile layout, that your sales page works as well on mobile as it does on desktop. I'm going to remind you that at least half of the browsers on your sales page, on your website in general, are mobile typically. So if your mobile layout is whacked, you're basically throwing away 50% of your leads. People are not going to interact or not even be able to interact on that sales page if you haven't done your mobile view correctly. So please pay very careful attention to your mobile view on your website. And those are my top tips of how to take your sales page and really convert it into something that can really stop the scroll. We're all seeing a lot in our timeline and in our feeds and what have you. So when somebody clicks on something and they go through to that sales page, you want them to stop scrolling, you want them to read, and you want them to take action. So that's my top tips. I want to know in the comments if anyone has any specific questions. Please shout about your sales pages. Do you have any questions? Is there anything that you're wondering? Having watched this live about your sales page, I want to know. So I'll hang on here for a few minutes and I'm going to show you some examples of some other fun sales pages. So another client of mine, Clean Food Dirty Girl. Love these girls. They do healthy plant-based eating, and look at their sales pages, how vibrant they are. Super vibrant. Here's an example. It would help if I was actually sharing my screen. So here we go. Clean Food Dirty Girl. This is one of their sales pages for their kitchen play offering. And as you go through, you see front and center what it is, what exactly is the program. You can see it's really nice, huge font as well. So this is a prime example of really keeping your ideal clients in mind. I know that for Molly and Luann, who own this business, their clients are an older client. And so it's super important that their websites are super easy, lovely large text, just really, really simple, and this is another great example of how they populate the page with all their calls to action. They pepper it through the page as you go. So you can see all these sales pages that I'm showing you are all very different in look and feel, but they actually all follow the same recipe of a sales page. So it's really all about putting your own personal branding or your own flair or your own brand flair on your sales page, but don't forget the basics. Don't forget the basics of what you need to do to make sure that that sales page converts in the best way possible. Jenny, nice to have you on here. It's an absolute pleasure. Jenny says thank you and appreciate the tips. It's an absolute pleasure. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and end this live. I'm going to remind you, let's hop off to my Go page. If you want to work with me, this is where you're going to go. And why are you seeing me all zoomed in? Am I just seeing a weird preview of the page? Very strange. Oh, I've suddenly zoomed in my browser view. So let's just go there, browser view, and that's where you want to go if you want to work with me. You're going to go to onedaywebs.com, go, and there's just 6 different ways that you can work with me if you want to work with me, whether you be a DIYer or whether you want me to do something for you or do a done for you service for you. You can find quick links on this page to all of those services. So thanks, Karen. Lovely having you on here. I'm glad you're enjoying the series. Thank you for the comments on yesterday's video as well. So please share this with anybody. If you think it will be of help to anybody else, please go ahead and share it with them. Get them on the live series. We have 2 more days to go. So looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a good day, everyone, and I will see you again tomorrow.